Some Christchurch city leaders are calling for unkempt, messy and derelict parts of the CBD to be tidied up. It comes as the Crown rebuild agency Otakaro begins guided walking tours tomorrow to showcase the inner city. But as Logan Church reports, some people are questioning whether there's anything to show off at all. So we sent him, dear Logan, on a self-guided 2K tour to go and see for himself.
So we're at the start of this walking tour. We are on the corner of the Worcester Street Bridge. We'll go for a walk and see what we see. Walking through central Christchurch, parts of the city are bustling with activity. But between the good bits, there are also some not so good bits, including messy temporary car parks, broken buildings and empty lots. And that's something Christchurch Central Councillor Dion Swiggs wants to change.
We need to get on top of the tidiness of our central city, and one of my big focuses has been on looking after our central city and making sure that it is tidy. So some of these sites that aren't so tidy and that are derelict or not looking that great, we need to tidy them up, or actually work with the owners to tidy them up.
Inner city residence numbers are still only 2/3 of what they were before the Canterbury earthquakes. Local economic development agency Christchurch NZ have put together a publicity campaign for the city, which this walking tour is a part of. The Central City Business Association's chairperson, Brenton Chase, says while there are great things happening in the city, pockets of empty, sometimes messy areas are still a problem.
Demand for developing a lot of the land in the CBD is very thin. The reality is that some of that land's likely to be vacant and undeveloped for some considerable time. So it's probably important just for the appearance of the central city that that land is landscaped or required to be kept tidy.
Now we'll cross the road and head down the middle of the new Central City Park. This area, known as Roorda Park, is part of the East Frame, a massive residential development that is not due until 2026. Work is only underway on a fifth of the 900 homes planned, and much of the site, which spans 5 city blocks, is empty. Some of it is being used for initiatives such as a mini football pitch, but a lot of the area is gravel car parks, some covered in mud and rubbish. Christchurch residents I spoke to on the walk were not impressed.
Progress is slow. What we've got, there's some really cool stuff like down Manchester Street here. This is really, really cool with the boulevard, but yeah, it's been really slow.
Do you think it's a bit bits and piecey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely so. Yeah. Absolutely.
You're looking at the edges of these buildings and you're seeing buildings 7-8 years on that are still derelict and the fronts have fallen off them, and there's definitely a lot of clean-up that needs to go on still with some of those buildings.
It's like the inner cities slums in the States.
Are you from the States?
Yeah, and some of those, derelict areas. I don't feel it's dangerous here though, it just looks like it.
Government-owned rebuild agency, Otakaro, is the biggest landowner in the CBD. Otakaro's communications manager, Andrew Trevelyan, says work has happened, or is underway, to transform some of its empty sites.
I think there's a lot of that happening around the city actually. A lot of the gaps are being filled in with some temporary initiatives.
Dion Swiggs says organisations such as the City Council are going to have to find more ways to encourage landowners to tidy up.
What I'd like to see is actually outside the box thinking. So what can we do to those places that, those building owners or those landowners that have that land? Could we rate them higher for having empty sites? Could we rate them at what it would be to have a building on there? What's the maximum consentable building that they could have on? Could we rate them at that so that it actually encourages them rather than just sitting on the land and doing nothing?
Otakaro's guided walking tours are set to begin tomorrow at 12:30 in the afternoon. In Christchurch for Checkpoint, call Logan Church, Tēnei.